So, welcome to our show, guys. This is the Expansion Pack podcast, from now on known as EXPcast. We've got a few topics we're going to talk about today, and this is our first time doing any recording. We're going to go around and introduce everybody. So, we'll start with Daniel. Just say a little about yourself.
Okay. My name is Daniel. I don't think we need the last names for lack of stalking. I don't know. I've had a very strong video game interest pretty much my whole life since my parents got me my first Super Nintendo. Good times. But I'm currently a computer science major at the local university here, and keeping it vague. Lately I follow news, and I also have very interested in breaking down a game into what makes it fun, why people like it, and how it gets made.
All right, Nick.
Hi everyone, I'm Nick. I'm also a computer science major here at the university, and I've played video games for most of my life. I've been part of the PC Gaming Master Race for a long time, but I have an interest in console gaming. I own a PS3, and I have been trying to play Demon's Souls and Dark Souls lately, not successfully. But beyond that, I'm really interested in the games industry, specifically development and game programming.
Tara?
Hi guys, I'm Tara. I've been playing video games pretty much my whole life. I don't have a particular genre that I favor. I don't play many FPS games these days, though, or racing games. Other than that, I'm the features editor at EXPpack. And I recently bought a Vita, so try not to suffer from the buyer's remorse.
Matt?
I am Matt, your resident smoker. I also a member of the master race of the PC gamers, and very happy of it. As far as anything right now, I'm just trying to play whatever I can get my hands on. Other than that, I'll be helping around with the dev team and podcasts.
Yes, and our newest member, for lack of the fact that I can't remember your name right now. Sorry.
Howdy, I'm Brandon. Also, PC Gamer Master Race. Master Race is kind of flooded. I don't know if we can still hold that designation. Let's see. I'm a CS student at the university that's not the local one, that Texas State. Yeah, some hicks go there.
What did that out?
You ruined the facade. The facade is dead.
But I want stalkers.
Ego
Computer
food.
science
Ego food.
students.
So I'm a mainly PC gamer. RPGs, anything by Valve. Good stuff.
All right, and Rudy, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Rudy. I am the editor-in-chief at Expansion Pack. For the most part, I'm just kind of sitting in and recording, making sure that we get all of our equipment tested, and just kind of hanging out.
All right, I'll introduce myself. I am Tyler. I'm an electronic media major. I am in charge of news for Expansion Pack. I am an avid gamer, have been as long as I can remember. I do a lot of fighting games, but I've got a pretty big scope of other things I play as well. So that's it for the introductions. Let's dive into some of our topics. So let's see. First thing I want to talk about is the Assassin's Creed 3 leak that came out. So a few days ago, there was a leak on the internet of like an Assassin's Creed 3 logo, and it has like a Confederate flag flying in the background, and the new assassin walking with like a hatchet in one hand and like a set of like arrows and stuff on his back. And just today, it was pretty much officially confirmed with actual box art, and it's going to be set in colonial America. How do you guys feel about this?
Well, now we're not dicking around on the rooftops of ancient cities. Now we're doing it with more modern ones. Great.
I know a lot of people that I talked to are upset because they wanted them to go like other countries aside from America. 'Cause in Assassin's Creed 2, I know you find like this underground tomb, and like it has like statues of assassins from like all these different countries, from Greece and from like China, and like there were so many other venues they could have gone to, but they decided to go like straight to America. And a lot of people were complaining about it. They're like, oh, it's not interesting. This is what we learned in high school the whole time. And other people are like, fuck yeah, America, because I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. What do you think, Rudy? I know you had a strong opinion on that.
Well, I don't know. I don't really think it's a good idea. I mean, they're going to make money off of it, but historically, people have been trying to link the Templars and the Freemasons, and so when you bring that Templar nemesis that's in Assassin's Creed, and you connect them with the Freemasons, which is what they should do in the game, which is I don't think they're going to do it, because then you'll be killing like George Washington and a bunch of American heroes, and you'll be trying to kill Thomas Jefferson. That's what they should do if they were consistent with the story, because there's a huge link between Templars and Freemasons. That's one of those great conspiracies, great mysteries of the world, but people have been trying to link them forever. So I know that they're not going to do that, and it upsets me.
I mean, on the flip side, they could always have the assassin playing for the Sons of Liberty, you know? Like, working with people like George Washington and all that kind of stuff.
Well, the thing is, if they like stuck to history, they couldn't. It would not fit in the storyline, because the Templars, for lack of a better word, the Freemasons are Templars. You know, that's just kind of something that a lot of people, a lot of conspiracy theories revolve around that the Freemasons are descendants of the Templars. And so, if you were sticking to Assassin's Creed, it just wouldn't fit, because then you would have to kill them. Like that would be the main storyline. And if they did change it, which I think they are, because like if you looked in the box art, you know, it's got the assassin, and he's tomahawking a redcoat, so he's killing some British guy.
Guiding Washington.
Yeah. So it's not something that I think they can do, but they should, but they won't. All right.
In all honesty, I am looking forward to the scalping minigame. And I other than the scalping minigame, I don't know. I kind of like the idea of being the whole Indian thing, if only because I think it's just an entertaining twist. I mean, yes, it is not really, there's continuity missing, but as far as video games are concerned, I think that's kind of always been an issue.
I mean, has it been confirmed he's going to be Native American yet?
Well, I mean...
Well, that's a...
It hasn't been confirmed there's going to be a scalping minigame, but he has a hatchet.
Well, once again, you know, to be honest, he can't be an Indian. Like, he can be a half Indian, like Davy Crockett, but like he has to keep that bloodline, so it's impossible for him to be a full-blooded Indian.
The rumor is that he's half Indian.
Yeah. So he would have to be half Indian.
So I'm curious if the gameplay is going to be more like Gangs of New York style, where you actually have like that old style of New York, and so really the game style is preserved. Versus that, or say The Patriot, which is really when I see the picture of him with the hatchet and the arrows, it makes me think of The Patriot.
Like the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The movie, like.
Same here.
And so I'm curious if we're gonna have more out in the world style killing people, which you've never really. You had some in the first Assassin's Creed, and you had some in some of the other ones, but it was never good.
Yeah.
And I'm curious if they're gonna work on fine tuning that and making that into a better play, or if they're just gonna cop out and just make it a Gangs of New York style awesome movie. I'm not trying to say that anything, but it's the style of urban and things like that. And we'll see.
That's something I was throwing around myself, is that if they're doing colonial America, I mean, you don't have giant sprawling cities like you do in Italy, like huge towers to climb and stuff like that. So I mean, like, they might actually start taking locations like inside of buildings more, or like something like that. And like on the note of The Patriot, I mean, having like awesome chase scenes and battle scenes like out in the wilderness, that's something I'd really want to see them take the direction.
It's actually fun. Not fuck this game.
Yeah, that's definitely something that the Assassin's Creed series doesn't really have. It's been mostly, urban areas, these sprawling cities and whatnot, but they haven't really taken the stab at like these huge wilderness areas that a lot of stuff.
Not unless you have a giant cannon or you're on a hang glider.
Yeah.
Fuck this game.
No, they just need large urban locations to hide all those damn flags.
Yeah, that's...
Well, there's actually like legitimate like Templar ruins in New England, like old school old castles, like not really castles, but more like watchtowers and forts that have all the Templar marks on them, or like conspiracy theory kind of stuff. So they may end up using those like as a reference in the game, like to be like, oh, this was an old Templar fort, and you have to go infiltrate it and kill people, like out in the wilderness. Because there's one that I know of at least, and there's like rocks and stuff.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get some National Treasure in. Or
Yeah.
Wait, so what if the assassin is Nicolas Cage this time?
All my money.
Cage.
As a note, it was from the hints they've given in other games. It's pretty much been confirmed that it's going to take place during the 7 Years' War.
Okay.
Any history buffs here can give us
That's not me.
Wasn't that the?
That's pre-revolution. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
that was the England French thing.
Yeah, it was the French and Indian War is
Yeah.
what
So then,
most people know about.
Did we all see the thing of him guiding Washington?
No, I haven't
Well,
seen that.
There was a picture
Washington was
crossing-
a famous general during the 7 Years'
This was the
War,
crossing the
so-
Delaware picture. You know how they
Oh.
always have those mini game puzzle things
I
where
have not seen that.
where you have
picture.
the art and you have the various art, and it's like this is how it was edited, and they have like they'll insert the apple and stuff like that. This one looked like it was going to be one of those, but it was not SEO pointing George Washington somewhere.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen that picture yet.
Was it the actual crossing the Delaware picture?
Yes, it was the crossing the Delaware, and like he was,
okay.
it was like they edited this out kind
Yeah.
of thing. And so that actually just makes me feel like it's going to be the revolution is in the past, and that this is sometime after the revolution, is actually what it makes me feel like. But I don't know. The rumor mongers may be right. That's,
I have no idea.
Every time I see one of those pictures, I think back to the whales and the dolphins bombing Hiroshima.
All right, so we're gonna move on to another topic now.
Before this gets any classier.
So the Vita just came out, and some of us have gotten a chance to look at the Vita. I mean, not everyone here has, but let's talk about how we feel about the Vita right now, and if it's gonna take off. Because I know there was a lot of doubt that it was gonna take off at all. But personally, from being hands-on with it, I'm pretty convinced that I want one already. I know, Terry, you have one. How do you feel about it right now?
I do have a Vita. I don't quite regret the purchase. There aren't that many games out right now, and my main concern is that there are there's really no games that are really big name on the horizon within the next year, and that's a problem. It did sell very well in Japan the first week, which basically tells you that everyone who was a really hardcore PSP gamer probably went out and bought the Vita. And the second week, the sales dropped about, I think it was somewhere between 70 to 80%.
good news. Good news.
Yeah, so I imagine the same thing might have happened in America as well. Some main complaints I've heard from people, the reasons why they're not buying it, is the fact that you can't play the UMD games on the Vita.
Yeah.
And Japan is getting a system where if you can basically prove that you own the UMD, and they will give you either a coupon or they'll give you a digital version of the game. But they've said that they're not going to do that for America because they don't feel there's enough demand for PSP games anymore, and that it wouldn't be worth the money to invest in it.
As far as the Vita in Japan goes, and I don't feel like I'm exaggerating this at all, but I feel like once the Monster Hunter stuff gets officially put on the Vita in Japan, then sales will probably skyrocket, because that is like the biggest game worldwide for the PSP from what I've seen. Like I can go on Game FAQs like any day of the year, and it is always like either top front page or top of the PSP charts, and pretty much, I mean, whatever system it's usually on, it's usually up in the top of the charts for popularity. My main concerns were actually the fact that it doesn't have PS1 backwards compatibility, like for PS1 downloads on the PSN network.
They're actually going to patch that in.
So they're gonna firmware it in.
Yes.
Okay. I mean that was really the only thing that really stood out, that really bugged me. I do like it though, because like there's certain games I would rather play on a handheld overall, like Persona. Like as much as I like Persona, I don't want to sit down in front of a TV and play an RPG, and like rather than I could take it on the go and like play it between classes or on the bus. The other thing was actually I'm not sure I totally like how it feels like in my hands, because I feel like the way the D-pad and the button layout is set out, like it's higher than it was before. Like I like the analog sticks, but overall I feel like it's not sunk into the controller enough. It kind of sticks out. And I know they have like third party stuff where you can put it into like a case, and it feels more like a controller and that kind of stuff.
People have complained that buttons might be a little bit too small as well, and the analog sticks are rounded outwards, kind of like a mushroom, instead of being indented in like the 3DS analog stick. As far as how you hold it, how you hold it normally, you're going to be touching the touchscreen in the back. And I haven't played too many games that use the touchscreen in the back, but that might be a problem because the grips where your fingers aren't on the touchscreen is really awkward to hold. Yeah. But if you hold it normally and your fingers are on the touchscreen, then it's fine. Do you feel like the backside touchscreen is really do you feel like it's just gonna be a gimmick? Like no one's really gonna capitalize on it, or do you feel like it's a necessary part of it? I think there are ways to capitalize on it. It's something that no one's ever tried before. I can't really say for sure now. I haven't really used too many good examples of it. But I mean, the 3D or the motion controls were all considered gimmicks, but people have implemented them in good ways.
Like I didn't realize that I was gonna have like gyroscopic aiming like 3DS had until I saw some people playing the Nathan Drake game on or the Uncharted game on it.
Well, it's kind of like a PS3 controller. It kind of has a 6-axis.
6-axis, yeah.
So it's the same thing.
Well, doesn't it use the actual cameras on it for the gyroscopic?
I'm not sure. I heard it use 6-axis, but I could be wrong.
Okay. So on that note, how do you guys feel like it's gonna stack up with the 3DS now that they're both out?
Well, I don't think we need to speculate too much. If you've been watching the sales charts from Japan recently, it's currently getting pretty much throttled by the 3DS. It's not even currently outselling the PSP yet. So yeah, that's never a good sign. I mean, it hasn't been out too long, but I mean, just the discrepancy is pretty bad at this point.
Well, I don't know. I think you're right, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But I think one of the big things is just like she said, the lineup of the games.
Just came out, yeah.
Yeah, the 3DS number one, it does have the backwards compatibility, which they're not getting that here. That's kind of a huge deal. And the fact is that the types of games that are on them, like the PSP, like the games are great from like a lot of people like them, but it's something of a niche community. Like a lot of the specific game titles, people are like I really like this one, but I usually won't play the rest of the PSP games. With the 3DS, it seems to apply to a decently large audience, and I think that's probably a huge selling point for them.
That was pretty much my point too.
Well, I mean, with the patching in of the PSN PlayStation 1 style games, that completely, like, I was going to completely ignore this because I don't really give a damn. But if I could get PS1 games on the go, like, that changes everything.
Well, they already had that for the PSP though.
Did they?
Yeah, you could play your PS1 games on the PSP.
Mm-hmm.
Off the network and everything?
Yeah, you would download them to the PSP memory card and you
Well,
can
then
play
I guess we
them.
can edit this out.
I think you had to download it from your PS3 to a PSP.
Yeah,
though.
you had to download it from the PSN network.
But the
which
Vita,
you
I
could
could just
only
get it raw off the internet?
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
log into the PlayStation Network and just download the game.
That
straight
sounds
to the Vita.
badass.
But
Yeah.
that's still one of those things where it's going to be if you don't already own a PSP. Like if you have a PSP, you're just going to be like, I'll just get it off my PS3.
Yeah.
But I don't want a PS3.
And,
but this actually sounds cool.
But the other thing that bugged me when I was looking at it, I didn't realize this actually, my friend David pointed out, is that you can't just use any kind of memory stick in a PS Vita. Like there's a specific Sony memory stick you need to buy.
Proprietary.
Yeah.
And they are a little bit more expensive than regular memory
A lot
sticks.
of it
Yeah,
more expensive.
there was a lot of internet rage at that when it was first mentioned and first coming
Yeah.
out. So
And I can almost see Sony not letting anyone else make memory cards for their unit just to have the corner on the market. My concern is like a lot of the stuff I want to do is digital download. Like, do you know how much space Persona takes up on a memory stick?
Persona is actually one of my bigger ones. It takes up about a gig. I have an 8 gig memory card for it. A lot of the PSP games are in the megabytes actually. So I have about 6 PSP games on my Vita right now, and I don't think my space is near full yet.
All right. And it's only gonna. I don't think it's gonna be a real big concern until people start putting their like actual PS Vita games.
Right. I'm pretty
on
sure
there.
the actual Vita game is probably gonna run about 2 gigs at least.
So what you're telling me is that Sony's gone to the dark side of intercompany manufacturing of accessories.
oh, they've always been like
Not-
that.
not really, I
Because like with the PSP, they had the proprietary Duo system.
I give the
which was-
PSP to an extent, but the fact is that like it seems like they slowly been moving towards that. They used to be the universal thing where you can
Oh,
plug
yeah.
just about anything in there. You can still still most of their products, but it seems like the PSP is really pushing that point.
Yeah.
It does have a general accessory slot, which I don't think anyone really knows what it's for yet. It's probably for future accessories. I hope it's for an HDMI out, but that's
Yeah.
probably not the case. I'm really upset that it doesn't have an HDMI out or any video out, really, because
Yeah.
the PSP 3000 had that, and that was really nice. So you
Yeah.
can play it right on your TV.
So there's no information what that because like I remember when you brought it to us to look at it, like I popped it open, I was like, hey, what's this? And you didn't even know what it was. So,
Yeah,
like, no one knows what it does at all yet.
I did a little research. It's called General Accessory Port, and people have been asking on forums, like, what is this for? And no one's really sure yet.
All right. The memory stick thing kind of bugs me. Like, I like the fact 3DS. I mean, it's just like an SD card. You just pop it in there and have as much space as you want. So that is going to be a little bit of a turn off, having to spend a lot of extra cash on expensive memory sticks.
Well, a big thing about the memory stick, just there's lots of stuff about it in general. Like first, the Vita comes with a memory stick, but it's next to useless because it's so small. So how many gigs?
4 gigs.
4 gigs. Okay, like Tara said, she had Persona, and that was 1 gig. So you can store 4 games maybe. So essentially, you need to go buy a memory stick. So people, when they talk about I'm going to buy a Vita, how much does this cost? Everyone in the forum is like, okay, we can get the Vita. You get either version, the 3G or the wireless, and then they always have to add in the price of a good memory card, which is usually around $50.
The 3G one comes with 8 gig instead.
Yeah, that's one reason why you went for the 3G.
Yeah, I got the 3G version. That's because the 8 gig card is about $40, so that pretty much covered the entire price for me almost.
Well, really,
or the markup of it rather.
The unfortunate thing is, I know you already have a 32 gig SD card.
And that is in my 3DS, yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, like maybe your 3DS doesn't need it or whatever, but you would have the option if you just have a really big memory SD card like that. Not only would it be much less expensive than the proprietary ones, is you might already have it, and you wouldn't have to go buy it, and the console would be effectively much less expensive.
And that is a very legitimate point. That's one of the main problems people have with the PS Vita right now, and the lack of games.
Most, games.
All right.
Well,
So it sounds like a lot of people have their hopes and dreams hinging on something cool being done with the accessories. But
That's me anyway.
So we're gonna move on to start winding down and start taking topics off this list. The next thing I want to talk about is Sega and the Sonic franchise. And I know I know some people have a lot of really strong feelings about Sonic, and let's talk about Generations first off. So how do you guys feel about Generations?
Well, I believe that I'll take a quote from you personally. It was an apology. It was an apology letter to every Sonic fan. That I mean, there's no way to put it other than the fact that it was them going back and saying, "Hey, look at all the great games we made. Wish we could do this again."
I personally love Generations. I wish they had, some of the other characters and different styles of gameplay like Adventure had, but it was a very good Sonic game.
I mean, it was good. Don't get me wrong, but it was still one of those things where they did go back and say, they did kind of. It was good. I'll give it that.
it was a good apology.
I think it was a good Sonic game, but at the same time, like I have a few qualms with myself, and I'm a fan of Sonic. I played all the adventure games on the Dreamcast when they first launched, and there are a few Sonic games I haven't played, and I've always been a fan. But I'm a little bit disappointed because I feel like a lot of us really just want Adventure 3 at this
I
point.
think everyone wants that.
Pretty much. I mean, like they had Adventure 2, and they were like, hey, let's try out Heroes, and Heroes was a bad idea, and then everything was just downhill from there. And I feel like as much as Generations was a celebration of how Sonic was in the past, I mean, they included the parts of Sonic that we didn't like too. Like they had levels from like the Sonic the Werehog game and like the Sonic 2006 game, and like really, if they wanted something successful, what they should have done is had the same formula for levels, but like expand more on the Sonic games people were like legitimately interested in. Like have more Sonic 2 levels, have some more adventure levels, like that kind of stuff. And I mean, would you rather have like a level from Shadow the Hedgehog, or would you rather than put in like Ancient Temple?
To be fair, the Crisis City, which was the Shadow the Hedgehog level, I think that might have been Sonic 2006, was a very good level, and it was really fun. I think maybe what they were going for is they don't want to admit that maybe most of their fans are the nostalgia goggles people from the 90s. They want to think that maybe there are a few fans they picked up from these newer Sonic games, which might be true.
Yeah. And my other problem with it was that I like the fact that it was like the nostalgia effect because you get to hear all these remix themes and see all the stages redone. But the first thing was that you had classic Sonic levels, and then you had like Sonic Adventure style levels, but they were all still pretty much like 2D side scrolling levels for the most part.
Yeah, the 3D levels were in I would say the Sonic Color style for the most part. They had the boosting, which they introduced in making colors. About.
Yeah, I've played maybe 2/3 of Sonic Colors, and it's pretty reminiscent, mostly because of the boost effect. But you could say it's sort of like Sonic Adventure. It just depends on what stage you're talking about, because again, it was very differentiated with what character you're playing. But I think they tried to make it sort of the cinematic roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
Which is fun. I like it a lot. So I can't really say I resent them for making a something like that.
Well, I know one of your main complaints was that the game was too easy, Daniel.
Okay. It's not that's too easy. Okay. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. And you started me on this topic because you know I will talk about it. Okay, so Sonic Adventure, right? You want that A, okay? You want it bad. What do you gotta do? You gotta keep playing that level for 3 hours, right? Right? Yeah.
No.
Okay. No, it's very okay. A's meant something, and that's why it's important and it's special because it is hard. If it's not hard, then I mean you made it more accessible, but in doing so, you have destroyed the point.
Yeah,
You've destroyed what it is. And when I was playing, for instance, Colors, they changed it. They made let's not make the A rank too elitist. We'll give the A ranks out pretty good. But here, serious business time now. S rank. Okay. So they made the S rank to make it.
Yeah.
I still got an A. You can feel good about yourself for getting an A. But then there's the serious business S rank. But with Generations, it's like, okay, everyone gets S rank now.
Just hand them out.
Just hand them out at your local library. No, so pretty much, I think their gauge for ranking you is if you don't die, you get an S. Congratulations. And it's just there's no point anymore. It's if you want an S rank, you just get it like that. It's not even a thing.
And when you look at it, Sonic in its roots is a classic game, and most classic games are they're easy to play, but to beat them, they're no walk in the park. And like you said, there's a sense of entitlement when you get all A ranks, and now it's just kind of like it loses its meaning now that like any Joe Schmo can walk off the street in the GameStop, play the demo, and like, hey, I got all these A ranks.
Well, I mean that's kind of the thing though. All of the old Sonic games, like even Sonic Adventure, those were the last generation of Sonic games. This new generation, we've had a completely different style of things, especially with achievements being a big thing. Like everyone wants achievements, and achievements are relatively easy to get. So I think that going into this, the Sonic team was kind of like had that sort of mindset. Everyone gets like all of these things, and they make you feel good about playing the game, and I don't know if that makes it a lesser experience or not. I personally didn't really play any of the old Sonic games when they came out or anything like that. I played a little bit of Adventure recently, but I personally had fun just watching Daniel play Sonic Colors, and I had fun watching Tara play Generations. So I mean, I think they're good games if I can just sit there and watch it and have fun.
Well, do you guys feel like they're trying to pander's not a good word, but it's the only one I can think of. Do you feel like they're trying to pander to the new generation of gamers when they just want that quick and easy sense of entitlement?
Were there achievements in it? I guess first off, to answer the question, were there achievements in it? Where you could actually Xbox?
Yes.
There
So
were
when you
Xbox
got
games.
those for getting the S's?
There were achievements for getting S on every level. There were achievements for completing certain numbers of challenge levels. There was about 20 or so achievements.
Then yes.
If we're going to talk about the whole thing about them getting into the new generation thing, I think one of the things that I will always miss from the old Adventure series was the fact that the story, so far, you get into it now, it's just amazingly convoluted, and just like what did they do to the story? And even back in the Adventure and Adventure 2, it seemed somewhat darker, which I was really kind of drawn to. I like that a lot.
And that's the point I wanted to get to, is that if this really is an apology letter, if this is Sega's apology letter to us, I don't want an apology letter. I want them to fix it. Because really the storyline to Sonic Generations is the most convoluted thing I've ever seen. Its storyline is, and people may have their opinions, their storyline, it's they based it around the fact that their level select screen was their story, which was nothing. The level select screen was, and the whole thing is, it's no big spoilers, but you get sucked into this dimension where all the Sonic storylines are getting pulled, and there's a big white screen, and you have to uncover the levels and the screen, and that was their story and their home screen design at the same time. It's just kind of hey, there's nostalgia if you go in these places, but don't stay out here too much.
Well, but let's really think about what was the story to Sonic 2 though. there was never really any outright story. Everything was sort of implied. And in Sonic Adventure, the story, I liked it a lot, but it was pretty silly in the first one. And the second one was also kind of silly, but I mean, they were enjoyable. But the Generations one, I feel, is kind of tacked on because they were like, you know what, screw it, we just want to like make it about the gameplay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
As far as the adventure story goes, I don't know. Like, I mean, it was all about the whole chaos thing gaining power. I mean, it wasn't like it didn't make sense. It's not like it didn't make sense or anything.
Oh no, it made sense. It was just like, you know, with Sonic as your main character, it's always gonna be a little goofy.
Well, I mean, I think the goofy part was adding in Big the Cat, but
Oh,
we all want to forget that. I know. It's
I like how he was left out of Generations very selectively.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the best thing I've ever read was some guy put something. He said it's like, you know, Sonic Adventure was like giving us a Ferrari, and putting Big the Cat in there was like telling us to sleep in it.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna start to wrap it up now. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we hope to have more content out soon.
Toodles.
Okay.